I've got a Sierra with a 3.0 Duramax, and it's having some EGR problems. So I'm going to take it apart and take a look at it. You can see the cooler and the valve somewhere up there. Most of the work is going to be done from down here. You're going to want to take the wheel off and then take the wheel well out, and then the EGR cooler and everything that you got to get to will be about over here. See if I can show you. There's the cooler, and the valve is further up there. There's two EGR valves and one cooler. It's not a hard job, but take this tab out now. Try and be gentle with it, because it's pretty easy to break these things. There we go. So another torque screw right here. One more here. That one's missing. Should be one more there, but it's missing on mine. think that was the last bolt. Might be some in here. This has to come off. I'm also missing another there. So I don't know what the fuck the dealership's been doing to this thing. One's also got to come off. Just raise the truck up a bit with this jack. Give me a bit more space. Get this out. This should come out, I think. Gonna take this out. Now you can see that we got a lot more access to the cooler and everything else that we need to get to. And this is where you got to drain the coolant out from. So here's the cooler. The EGR valve is right up there. I'm gonna take these off, check how they are on the inside. And yeah, this thing's got quite a bit of fucking rust for a 23, but it is what it is. I'm gonna drain the coolant now. I'm not reusing the coolant. I'm gonna throw new coolant in it when I'm done. So I'm emptying it out in the def tank and lining it up. Got the fucking tube shit hooked up to that, so I don't make much of a mess. I'm just using pliers to get this little plastic thing off. Wasn't too tight. There it is going now. I'm gonna open up the coolant caps. I'm gonna open up both of them. I'm gonna let that empty out for a minute or two. Actually, while that's draining, I'm gonna work on this. Take those two bolts out, those two out as well. Take this pipe out. And then after the coolant has drained out fully, I'm gonna take these coolant lines out off of the cooler. See what will happen from there off. What the fuck is this? That looks like a 14. I'm gonna spray some lubricant on them, especially this one. I sprayed these 4 bolts with some lubricant with WD-40. They're 13mm bolts, all 4 of them. Loosen them up. Then for those two, I'm going to use a extension. Probably the longer one. Might have to move that out of the way. Yeah. Should be good enough. Yep. This one's a lot tighter than those upper two. Gonna grab a breaker bar because I don't have a lot of space. Get a good amount of leverage on it. It's not a whole lot longer, but it's something. Gonna take that ground off. I think it's also a 14 or 13mm. Yeah. Got that off. See, this will just slide right off. There we go. Gotta remember to put that shit back on. Got it cracked loose, broken loose. Probably should have let this shit soak a bit more. It's coming out. Here's the first bolt. And there was a recall for this ground strap. I think it was this one. While you got it apart, you take care of that. This is a new one. Or just take it to the dealership since it's a recall. I don't want to pay for the part, whatever the fuck. Doesn't look too bad in there. I was honestly expecting this to be a lot worse. That doesn't look too bad either. Okay, I'm gonna take this tire off, or the wheel off. Give me some more space. Got all the bolts working loose. With the lugs. Would have helped to have a impact, but this works too. This thing was a pain in the ass to get out, but I finally got it out. So now I can unscrew it, get it out of here. Careful with that, you don't want to damage this. It's got a bit of shit built onto it. I think it's a temp sensor or some shit like that. I don't know. Now what else we got up here? And I also took this bolt off. It was from this black bracket right up here. Took it off so I can move that. Give me a bit more space up here because this heater core hose is kind of in the fucking way. Other than that, it's good. I'm going to take these two bolts out. That one as well. I might have to take it off with this suit, but we'll see. And then these two coolant hoses, this one, and those two brackets as well. Where are those pliers? I'm gonna get something to put underneath this. Cut up this bottle. I'm gonna drain it into that. This thing is kind of stuck on there, so I'm gonna use this flathead to kind of get it off for me. Be careful while you're using this because you could damage the hose really easily. Nothing good comes from a coolant leak. That wasn't a lot. Well, most of it got on the ground, but now that one's left. This one's a bit hard to get at, but it's a tight fit. There we go. Fuck. Should be good enough there. Before I take the hose off, just squeezing the hose a little bit, getting some coolant out. I've already done it a few times, so that's why there's not a lot coming out. But yeah, just be prepared for some coolant to come out. Ah, fuck. Bit of a tight spot, and when I push this back out to get it out, the hose falls back in because there's a lot of pressure on it. Got it out now. Oh, it wasn't too bad. I'm gonna get these two out now. I think they're also 13. Maybe a 12. Yeah, that's a 13. Now that I got this hose off, I could see that there's another bracket or a bolt holding on the bracket that I got to take off. See if I can get it off with this. There's almost no room to get it out. I'm just able to get it one tooth at a time. This will take a little while. I'm going to loosen that one up as well. But probably just take that bolt out. Loosen those two a bit more as well. Get the light down here. Before I take all the... One thing I would like to add to make this part of the job easier is take the EGR cooler off separately and then take off the EGR valve. As you can see in the video, I started taking off the bolts that hold the cooler and the valve together, but I ended up leaving one in and took them off together. I thought it would be easier at the time, but looking back now, it'll definitely be easier for you to take the EGR cooler off first, because that will give you a lot more space to work on everything else that's holding the valve in place. And on the top left corner of the valve, or the hose that goes to the valve, there's a little breather hose connected to it that you don't have a lot of space to take off, and taking off that cooler would help you out a lot. Should probably use this. That's about as much as I could do with that, because if I take it out anymore, I won't be able to take out my wrench and socket. God damn it. It's too tight to get it off with my fingers. Almost got this bolt completely out. There we go. Now I'm going to move on to this bolt now. think I've got some oil spilling out, or it's just coolant stripped onto it, I think. Now, that one should be the last one. I'm gonna take the whole thing out together, because I think that's gonna be easier. I have to take that bolt, coolant spraying out. If you follow the EGR valve to that hose and all the way back to the turbo, you can see that black bolt that's holding in that's connected to the hose. There's another one towards northwest of it. I'm gonna take out those two. And I'm just going to pull the whole thing out together. Should be right there. Can't quite see it on camera or from the top, but if you feel around for it, you'll find it. And it's a 10mm bolt. Got one of them loose. And I'm gonna try the one on top. Got this one broken loose as well. Should be able to get it out with my hands. There's one. I've got it out. There we go. And one more thing that I did was took this hose off, this coolant hose off of that, tucked it away back here. I'm gonna take this line off. I still haven't taken that off. It's in a really tight spot. My hands can't really get at it. I'm gonna use the flathead to help me out here a little bit. There we go. That one. I'm also going to take that one off. Now, it's just that hose. That hose is starting to come off. Once it's off, everything should just come off. There we go. That's just now off. I'm gonna take out these two bolts. We got them loosened up a bit. I see one more sensor up there that I've got to take out. Still a bit of coolant coming out of it. It's basically completely out now. There's just one more hose in the back. Took this sensor off. You pop up. You push up on that red tab, bring it up. I just use this pick. Ride it in there like that. Pushed it up. I got it off of this. And now that is the last and final thing holding in the cooler and the EGR valve. There we go. Still needs a little bit more. This shit is on there good. Finally gets out. Fuck. That took a little while, but it's finally out. You can see a bit of buildup on the inside from this side. It's almost like mud. I got the hose off on the EGR side and most of the way off on the turbo side. I'm just going to pull it out. Now you can see a bit more on what we got to do. See all those bolts, those two, and further up going to the back of the turbo. Also that sensor right over there. I'm also going to take this other hose off that was on top of the other one, just to get it out of my way. To get these hoses off, I've already got the clamp off. You just gotta move them around a bit, play with them, get them seated up, and then they should just slide right out. I'm working on removing this hose. Got it off from the bottom. Just sat right in there. Got the clamp off, got the hose off. It's just gotta get it out of here. Bottom one came off easy, this top one's kind of being a pain in the ass. It was going for a second. That's out now. Took the two 10mm bolts that was on this off. There's one here on the back of the turbo and one over here. Where the fuck was these two? Pretty sure. Got those out, and then underneath it got my 10mm wrench. Got the bolt loose on the other side. Still working on that though. Gonna get that out, get this pipe out, get everything around it off so I can get more space. Slowly was able to get that bolt out and pulled the pipe out. You can see a lot more carbon buildup on this one since it's not going through the DPF or anything like that. And after I took that out, I got enough space to get this breaker bar. Got a socket on there with my breaker bar. It's coming out. Put up a fight, but it's coming out. I've got those bolts loosened up now. I'm not going to take them off all the way because I still have to take off that sensor, or that wire, and that hose back there. I'm going to take the hose off from the left side so it looks like it'll be a bit easier from there. I got that hose clamp off. I pulled the EGR like this so I can have a bit more space so I can take off that clamp because I couldn't really fit my pliers in here. I'm gonna get that hose off so I can move it around, and then I'm gonna take that sensor off, and then I'm gonna take it out, clean it out, do what I need to do. Use my flathead here to free it up a little bit, although I can't really fit it into there. Right, got that hose off. Now it's just that sensor left. Got the red thing pulled. I gotta push down on that black tab and it should slide out. There he goes. Right. Get this hose back to where it was. Pull it out. It's a bit black. It's not crazy bad, but it's fine. This doesn't look too bad, or at least not bad enough to be causing a check engine light for it. It's still not good, but everything seems to be working fine. The valve is opening good. It's not getting stuck. Judging by how clean both my EGR's valves are and how freely they open and close. Same with the cooler. I'm going to assume that my problem is from a couple sensors. I'm going to clean them out, take them out, clean them out, see if that fixes my problem. I'm first going to start off with the MAF sensor. It's just right here on the air box. Push that red tab back to unlock it, and then push down on that little black tab. It slid right off. I'm going to set that aside right there for now. I'm going to take my bolts out the rest of the way. Be real careful with the sensor when you take it out, because it's pretty sensitive. See a little bit of dust built up on it, but nothing crazy. I'm gonna go and clean this out. Got my sensor, got my cleaner. Just gonna spray it all over it. Get every part of it cleaned out. I'm gonna let that dry out, and then I'm gonna put it back in the truck. Gave it a minute dry up. Seems good now, so now I'm gonna put it back in. be gentle with these bolts because they can strip out pretty easily. I ended up replacing my MAP sensor because it had so much buildup on it. I wasn't able to clean it off without damaging it. So I'm just going to show you a clip of me putting in the new sensor that I got. I've got my new MAP sensor ready to go in the truck. There's the part number if you need it. It's 240-000-17. To take it off, you're going to want to take off this clamp over here that's holding in the intake. Then you want to go to the other side over here and take this other one out. And also this bolt, it's a 10mm bolt. It's holding in the coolant reservoir. Going to take that out, take this hose out as well. And you could slide the reservoir a bit out of the way, which will give you enough space to get this part of the intake off. And the MAP sensor is down there. You'll see what I'm talking about once I got the intake off. I'm going to start off by taking off this bolt over here, or the clamp. Just using the flathead. You could also probably use a 7mm socket or an 8mm. That'll probably be easier because of the angle that it's in. Once you've got it off majority of the way, I've got mine completely off. Should be good enough there. Now I'm going to go to the other side, take that other clamp off, and then that reservoir with the hose. This one I'm just going to use a ratcheting screwdriver. Looks good enough there. Now, this bolt down here. There it is. And now that hose has to come off. I've got a pair of pliers. Take it off. There it goes. Got the hose off, but as you can see, a bit of coolant shot out from it. So when you're doing this, make sure the truck is cold, or the coolant is at least, and just let out some of the pressure. Be real careful when you're doing this because the coolant will shoot out and that could burn the fuck out of you. But I've already done it, so I'm good. And the coolant was cold, so I didn't get burnt. But now this reservoir could be moved aside a bit. Just gonna put that on so I don't spill anything. Got it sitting like that for now. I'm gonna take the intake off. Make sure you don't get anything into your intake, and if you do, clean it off before you put it back together. Should be good enough there. I'm gonna take it off from the side that's on the turbo. See if I could do this one-handed. That came off pretty easily, actually. Alright, it's off from this side. Make sure nothing gets into your turbo or your intake. I'm gonna take this back out and lift up on the back of it a little bit, because there's a little stud-like thing that it sits on, and then you gotta pull it towards the driver's side to free it up. It's getting cut onto the reservoir. There we go. All right, I've got it coming out now. Isn't too bad. There's the piece I was talking about that you have to lift up to get it out. And then this, you gotta slide it around a bit to free it up. And right there is where the MAP sensor is. Gonna get this out of the way. Now I'm gonna unplug the sensor, and to do that I've got to pull back on that red tab right there, which will unlock it, and then I have to push down on a little black tab to get it out. There's red tab out the way, and then there's a black piece over here that you've got to push down on. There we go. I'm going to take out that 8mm bolts out right there. And then the sensor should just be able to pop out. It's a pretty tight spot, but just barely able to get my wrench in there. I've got the bolt broken loose. Now I'm just taking it out the rest of the way with my hand. There we go. Set that aside. Make sure you don't lose that. And now, I'm just going to pull on the sensor. Should come on out. There we go. It's coming out. Make sure you don't drop anything in that hole. I had to run the truck while the new sensor was shipping, so I took out the old one and cleaned it off so I could run it until the new sensor came in. That's why it looks so clean in the video, but I'll show you a picture of the sensor when I first took it out. This is what the old one looked like. And this is what it's supposed to look like. Gotta go ahead and throw my new sensor in now. Some signs that the sensor could be bad is rough idling, or the truck could be burning more diesel than it usually does. And those are the signs that I was experiencing. Could be more for you, but this is usually what it is. It gave me a check engine light. I scanned the code and it was for the code was for a EGR valve excessive flow or something like that. And that was caused by the sensor sensing too much pressure in the intake manifold. So the increased pressure in the intake manifold made the ECM believe that excessive pressure was from the EGR valve giving an excessive amount of exhaust gases back into the intake. Another thing I noticed was a really bad smell coming from the exhaust. I didn't notice how bad the smell was until I put the new sensor in. After this, problems should go away. It's all nice and tight. I'm gonna go ahead and plug it back in. Push it in until you hear that click. And then once it's in all the way, push that red tab back in to lock it in place. And that's perfect. Now the intake has to go back in. I'm going to try to do this one-handed. It's a bit hard to film and work at the same time. It's almost in all the way. I'm going to leave it where it is now. And I'm just going to connect it to the turbo. And then I'm going to put this side on. It's going to cut off on something on this side. I need 2 hands to do this, so this is going to be about the best camera angle that I could get. I'm pushing it onto the turbo with one hand and then lining it up with the other. Might need a pick or something to get that intake lined up nice and good. Never mind, it slid in. Right. Now, all I've got to do now is just tighten that clamp. And the rest is easy. Just feel around the boot and make sure it's seated on properly all the way around. Because any leak would be sucking in air that's not filtered. And that could be pretty bad for your turbo or your motor. Before I tighten the clamp on the other side, I'm going to throw this side on because it's going to help align and push the other boot on properly. And this side's the easy side because you've got a lot of space to work with. Right. Got it on. Once I threw that on, this thing slid down and lined up the other side for me. Just gonna make sure it's on properly. And it looks like it is. So I'm just gonna tighten that clamp and then get to the other side. Seems good enough there. I'm just gonna feel around the boot, make sure it's on all the way around. Now this one, it's in pretty much all the way around. wouldn't hurt for this bottom side to slide in a bit more. Right? Got it on all the way now. I'm going to tighten the clamp. That's good right there. I still have the factory markings for the torque on the clamp, so I've just got it at where that is. Just making sure it's on all the way, which it is. And now I'm going to put that bolt back on. Now I need my 10 mil. It's good right there. Now the hose. Now this clamp is the very last thing I've got to do. She's good to go. All seems fine. So the reason that I decided to take the EGR apart was because I had a check engine light and I scanned the code. It was for the EGR valve giving excessive flow, which made me think that the EGR valve was stuck open like this. I was assuming there was too much carbon buildup, stopping it from opening and closing properly. Took it apart. It was all working fine, as you can see. There's not a whole bunch of carbon buildup. There is some, but not enough to cause a check engine light or the valve to fail. So I knew that wasn't my problem. So after that, I started looking at some sensors. Took off the MAF sensor, the mass airflow sensor. I cleaned it off. It was fine. Then I moved on to the MAP sensor, which is what I got in my hand right now. And you could see how dirty it is. This sensor is for measuring the amount of pressure that's in the intake. And with all this built up carbon on it, or oil and whatnot, was making the sensor feel more pressure than there was in the manifold. So that's what led the engine, or the ECM, to believe that the EGR was letting in too much exhaust gases back into the intake. Because if that was open the whole time, the pressure in the intake manifold would be a lot more than it is if it was working properly. But I'm going to clean this, put it all back together, check the car out, see how it runs. And after cleaning this, all my problems should go away. Because this looks like the core of my problems, because everything else I've looked at looks fine. Got my cleaner here. I'm going to spray it off. I'm most likely going to have to replace this, because all that stuff that's built onto it is on there real good, and I can't quite get it off with the spray alone. So I've been trying to take some big chunks off with this pick, but by doing that I'm probably going to damage the sensor. I'm going to have to replace it. Now that I know what my problem is, and I know that the EGR valve and cooler are fine, I'm gonna go ahead and put it back on. I'm gonna throw this little plastic cap on. Sure it falls into where it needs to be. I'm gonna throw in this little hose on. And I'm gonna put my gasket on it now. This little hole goes where that dowel is at. And these little pieces on the gasket just go over it like how I have it on right now, and it just holds it in place for you. I've got my bolts ready here. Hardest part is probably going to be this hose and that clamp. Gonna get it where I need it to be. I've got it where it's supposed to be. I'm gonna try and slide that hose onto it. Right, got it on all the way. Well, the hard part is gonna be getting that clamp on. I'm gonna get that hose out of my way. Get my pliers ready. I might take it back out and move that clamp to somewhere more accessible, because I don't really think I'm going to be able to get that with my pliers. I'm going to take it out and move it out a bit. Over there should be good. Once I've got it on, I'm just gonna move the valve a bit to open up the space for me. I gotta move that clamp because it's not letting it go in any more than it is right now. Still see that it needs to go in a tad bit more, and once it's all the way in, I'm gonna get that clamp on. Not a whole lot of space for me to get my hand through so that I can hold that piece that the hose goes onto. You're gonna move that clamp just a bit more. Still not clearing it out. Got my hose on and my clamp on, and before I put the bolts on, I'm just gonna feel around the hose to make sure that I've got it on right, because at the end of where the hose goes over, it expands a bit, and your clamp is supposed to go over that. If it's not, then the hose could come out. So just make sure that you've passed that. And now I've got it where it's supposed to be at. I'm gonna put the bolts on hand tight on both sides. And then before I tighten them down, I'm just gonna make sure that that little dowel is lined up properly. Got it hand tight now, but with enough space for me to be able to move the part around if I need to. Just gonna use the socket. It's in a hard to reach spot. And I've got the other bolt on now. I'm going to tighten it down a bit with the socket. Before I tighten that too much, I'm going to move the valve around a bit, wiggle it around, and the dowel should go in. But if you've got the bolts in, the dowel will just naturally line up with it. It's pretty hard to mess up. And make sure your gasket is in right. But that dowel and the two bolts and the little clamps that go over it already hold it in place good enough. Alright, I've got the two bolts hand tight now. And before I forget, I'm just going to plug it in. Push it in until you hear a click. Once you hear a click and it's all the way in, push that red tab back in to lock it in place. I'm going to get a wrench and tighten down the two bolts. Got the back one nice and tight. I'm gonna tighten the other one. It's all nice and snug. I'm gonna recheck the torque on the back one once more, just so I don't lose sleep at night. What the fuck? It's all nice and tight. Got the EGR valve nice and torqued. Got it plugged in, got the hose in. So now I'm going to put that pipe that goes over there. And then after I put that in, I'm going to put that coolant line back on. Make sure you got your gasket on good. Gonna get my bolts ready. I'm gonna start off with these two bolts that go onto the EGR valve, because those other two are easily accessible from up top. I might just throw in one of the bolts to hold it in place so that it will be easier for me to thread in these two bolts, especially the back one, because there's almost no space to get that back one in. And I'm probably going to do that because I can't get this one on. I'm putting in one of the bolts from the top to hold the pipe in place. I'm gonna go up, get this other bolt in. See, I'm gonna lower the car so I can better angle at it. You're lowering it down, make sure there's nothing underneath it that you could crush, possibly damaging the truck or whatever. I fucking dropped it. But it went in the hole, so it's good. Well, I got real lucky with that. Just tightening up the bolt with my hand now. I forgot to mention in the video, but there's a plastic piece that holds the harness that goes across the turbo. I took that off. It was a few 10mm bolts holding it in. I took those off and cut the zip ties holding the harness to the plastic piece. Then I got it out of my way, which let me tighten down these bolts. I don't remember if you had to do that or not, but I had mine off either way. It's all nice and snug. I'm gonna get the other one. I don't know how I got this tightened up last time, or took it off with. I think I did it from down here, because I'm gonna tighten this down and then recheck the torque on the other one. It's nice and tight. It's all tight, so that's good. before I raise the car back up, I'm just going to throw this hose back on. This goes to there, and this side goes to the turbo. The engine side goes there, and it's got this little piece that looks like it goes onto that little notch there. But I'm going to take this back out, readjust where that clamp is, so I'm not going to be able to get it from where it's at. Should be good right there. Maybe a little further back. Should just slide on now. So now I'm going to put this hose back on. In all the way. Make sure you've got your sensor and that back hose over there on perfectly good. Almost went on perfectly for a second. Good right there. And now the hoses over here and here are next. Gonna move this one a bit further back because I don't like how close it is to coming off. pulled these hoses back to where they were originally, put them here, set them aside so I could have space while I work. So this hose goes into the turbo over here. I throw that clamp on. Right, and now I'm gonna grab my EGR valve, throw it onto here, put the bolts on, throw this hose on and the sensor, and then I'll put the EGR cooler on. It'll be a lot easier putting it on separately. Don't forget your gasket. Get that on. We'll put the nuts on it. And I dropped it. I think it went into the skid plate. I didn't hear it hit the ground. From the top this time. Hopefully I won't drop it. Got that in now. Nice and tight. I'm gonna go and torque him down from the bottom. Got my 10 mil now. I'm gonna tighten down the bolts, starting with the one on this side, right there. Now for the other one, I'm gonna push this down into the side a little bit. Get my socket through. Now what's going on? God damn it. It's all nice and tight. Gonna recheck the other one once more. So all nice and tight. And now that hose on top over here needs to get connected, and then the connection for the wire up here. I'm gonna connect the wire, push it in, hear the click, and then lock the red tab in place by pushing it down. The wire is all set now. Now it's just time for that small little hose to go on. I'm gonna get that on from up top. It's gonna be hard, not quite gonna be able to see it. There's the hose, and that is where it has to go into, up top. Take a look from down here, see how it's going in. Might be able to push it in a bit from here. Got the final hose on for the EGR. Got the clamp on. That's all set. I checked the torque for the bolts. And they were good. So now I'm gonna bring the cooler over. Gonna throw this hose into that clamp. Just like that. Actually, I'm gonna pull this little part over here and then put it onto that. Got my cooler, got my gasket. Just gonna put it on like that for now. It's a bit caught up on the little bracket holding in the coolant hoses. I'm gonna bring that and put it onto its original position for how it goes back together. Got that set now. So set that hose aside for now. I'm gonna go put these bolts on. Make sure you put the gasket on. It fits on like this. The two that are closer together go to the bottom. The single one on top stays on top. screwed on that bolt a little bit. Now I'm going to throw on the other ones. Because it helps align everything a bit. I wiggled the EGR cooler a bit from the bottom as I was pushing in the bolts, and that got them in. I got them tightened up a bit, still have to tighten it a bit more. I'm not going to make it too tight right now. I'm going to put all the bolts that hold in the EGR cooler in, and then I'm going to torque them down all the way. Well, not torque, but tighten them down. It's about as much as I could with my hand. I'm gonna get the other two bolts on, and then I'm gonna put the little coolant bracket. I'm gonna put that hose on because it's kind of pushing the bracket off. It's just gonna make it hard to put on. I'm gonna put this upper hose on as well. And I've got to bring that clamp back a bit so that I can get my hose on all the way. Got the two hoses on with the clamps. And now I'm just going to put this bolt on, that bolt on, and then these two bolts that hold the coolant bracket shit on. Actually, I'm gonna put the two bolts for the bracket on first, because this might get in the way. one of them on. Now the other. Gotta get it on the rest of the way with the socket. But remember that the bracket holding the hoses is supposed to sit on this side of the EGR cooler. Just like how I have it right now. It's nice and tight as well. Now back to that bolt. I'm going to tighten that one from up top. But for now, I'm going to work on that one. It's going to take a little while. Got that bolt tightened up. I'm gonna this one tightened up from the top. It's all nice and tight. That one's good. Now the final one. This one's a pain in the ass. That should be good now. Now I'm going to tighten up bolts holding in the EGR valve and then the sensor that goes into there. I'm going to throw that sensor in real quick while I'm down here, and just going to tighten it with a adjustable wrench. I'll wipe it off before I put it in. You don't gotta tighten that too much. Snug it up a little bit. And it's good to go. I'm gonna tighten the EGR valve bolts, and then I'm gonna plug that in. Run that pipe, this coolant hose, this ground, and I'll be done here. Don't forget about the one in the back underneath. Those are good. Gonna get these two hoses on. Now I'm gonna put the hose clamps on it. We got those two hoses set up. I'm gonna put this one on. That's on now, so I'm gonna put this final pipe on. This side is a bit bigger, so it's gonna go on the EGR cooler. Last thing I gotta do down here is put on the ground strap. Show a little bolt. Hopefully this video helped you fix your truck, and see you guys next time.